Good morning, everyone. My name is Mark Keys. I work at IT Blanchardstown, and for the last number of years, actually 5 years now, I've been working on some projects relating to skills for construction workers and preparing them for the move to low energy buildings. So QualiBuild is a project we're currently working on. It's a 33-month project. It's just coming to the end of its cycle, and it's a partnership between LIT, DIT, IGBC and ITB. So it originates from a build-up skills initiative of the EU in 2011, which is funded by the Intelligent Energy Europe programme. And they initiated national projects across all of the member states to have a look at the status quo of skills of construction workers in relation to achieving 2020 energy saving targets. So the Irish project was Build Up Skills Ireland, or BUSY, and that's followed on now by, in Eurospeak, what's called the Pillar 2 project, or the follow-on project, which is QualiBuild. Now I'm going to move through the slides quite quickly, because I have quite a few slides, and as I mentioned, we're at the end of the project cycle, so we've covered a lot in that period. So I take it, Vincent, there'll be questions and answers at the end of the session, rather than at the end of each speaker. So at the end of the entire session, I'll wait for that. Okay, so what BUSY found, the BUSY project did a skills gap analysis for the construction sector, and there were a number of key findings. One was that upskilling in the sector was largely being focused on the time, this is back in 2011, 2012, on the unemployed, where the situation that was occurring was we were revising building regs and we were expecting the workforce who were on site to implement those standards, yet we weren't actually addressing their skills and their training. Also that the level of skills involved for typical dwelling retrofit projects, they don't usually sustain by their scale or by their budgets engagement of construction professionals, so largely what happens on those smaller projects is down to the individual contractor or tradesperson on site. And there's quite a few skills areas that need to be addressed there to actually approach even a relatively small scale retrofit project. Trainers in the sector also are usually employed on the basis of their trade qualifications and their industry experience, but because they have been largely removed from site for the period when we had so many changes to the building regs and this move towards low energy buildings, in a lot of cases they were largely unaware or not up to speed on the changes and the new technologies. So the Build Up Skills developed a skills gap analysis, I mentioned. That went to a national consultation around the country, and the findings and the conclusions were endorsed basically by that national consultation and by a steering committee of relevant stakeholders, including national government agencies. So there's a roadmap then which was looking to address not just training actions but support actions which would add value to that training and have some real impact beyond just having a training program basically. So on the training side there was a list of actions that were identified, but for the follow-on project we focused on two of them. So the initial one was to introduce a short or foundation energy training program, an introductory program for all construction workers. This was just so that everybody would be working off the same page, that they would have a common understanding of the language of low energy buildings, and they would understand the basic principles. And we would address the trainers, because if we were going to roll out any kind of a significant program of training for construction workers, we would have to bring the trainers up to speed as well. So why have QualiBuild, or why have the follow-on project? Well, we've already had a number of speakers here this morning speaking about the energy use targets and how much energy consumption there is in buildings. We have significant changes to building regs and standards and more on the way. And the conclusion of BUSY was that construction workers have the skills, but they may not have the knowledge of how to apply those skills to these new principles of low energy buildings. So QualiBuild is hoping to prepare the construction workforce, upskill the trainers as mentioned, improve the knowledge of construction workers, improve consumer awareness through a communications campaign and a PR campaign, of the importance of quality and employing qualified workers to do the work, and provide a framework or a register of qualified workers. And this would support a national rollout of actions that go beyond the life of the project. So often with EU projects, there's a pot of money, it's used to develop a pilot or a series of actions, and then there's a number of reports and they sit on the shelf. We wanted with this project that it would go beyond the life of the project and it would have an impact with regard to the overall objective, which is that this goes on as a national rollout for all workers. So we developed the Train the Trainer program. So it was to address the knowledge gap with current trainers. Under the project, we developed the program and we piloted for a target of 100 trainers. We didn't actually reach that target because there aren't that many trainers currently operating in the sector around construction skills because of the severe downturn. So we're actually drawing from a much smaller pool than we thought we would be originally. We had about 80 trainers registered on the program. We also looked to develop a proposal for a CPD system which would, I suppose in effect, prevent this type of knowledge gap occurring again in the future with the trainers. So the program itself is a 4-module program. For those who are familiar with NFQ levels, it's level 7, 5 credits per module. It's called a Certificate in Training in Low Energy Buildings, and it uses a blended learning approach. So it takes about 5-month cycle to complete the training, and it's certified as a special purpose award. So it's quite a comprehensive program. It involves 2 days of contact per module, but a significant amount of independent learning and self-directed learning. So the content was provided up front for each of the modules. So we developed a learner manual so that the trainers could work independently, learn the technical side of it ahead of workshops for each of the modules, and we would also have, following the workshop day, we would have a site visit relevant to the module to complement that to allow the trainers to observe the practical applications of the theory or the technical side of it. It's continuous assessment, so there's a number of assignments that are completed for each module over the cycle. So phase 1 of the delivery was for 3 groups, 2 in Dublin and 1 in Sligo. That started in October 2014. And phase 2 of the delivery was for 2 groups, 1 in Dublin and 1 in Cork. So we were trying to approximately cover the regions to the west and the south and the Leinster region. 87 participants registered in total. Not all of them completed the program. It's quite an intensive program, and a lot of them felt that there was a lot of demands on their time. The vast majority of them are full-time trainers, so getting cover for classes or training was difficult for them. Approximately 75 stayed the course. So we had workshops held at ITB, Blanchardstown, at IT Sligo, and at Cork Institute of Technology. And we would have complemented the workshops with site visits to destinations such as ecological building systems in Athboy, Clough Jordan, Eco Village, and then we would have carried out mock BER surveys basically locally in sometimes local authority housing or where we could get access to a dwelling. So this is just a picture from the Cork practical workshops, Sligo, and the visit to ecological building systems for the Dublin group. So the purpose of training the trainers was so that they could support the piloting and a national rollout of a new foundation energy skills program, which I described earlier, the introductory program for all construction workers. The objective was to develop a training program for construction workers on quality low energy buildings. You may note the title of the project, QualiBuild, rather than EnerBuild or energy related. We chose quality in a broader sense because low energy buildings are synonymous with close attention to detail and specification, and by default they're associated with quality. We pilot this training with 200 workers. We evaluate and refine it so that we could hand it on to the relevant national stakeholders for a national rollout. So we wanted to make sure that it would be relevant, effective and scalable. Obviously it was going for a national rollout. That it was for knowledge rather than skills, because as mentioned already, the gap that we found wasn't a skills gap, it was a knowledge gap. And that it was engaging, valued and accredited. So even beyond the training itself, how could we add value to the program? How could we motivate workers to participate on the training? So again, we developed course materials to complement the program. So again, we had a learner manual, and the course was divided into 6 units covering the topics shown here. The idea was that the course was delivered as a 3-day course, or an equivalent evening and Saturday delivery for those who had an issue with impact on their working week. So each unit equates to a half day of training or an evening delivery of training, so that we could cover it in 3 days or 4 evenings and a Saturday. The middle 2 units and the middle day of training took place in a practical workshop facility where there were demonstrations carried out of low energy building principles. So phase 1 of the delivery was for 7 groups, so we covered Dublin, Cork, Limerick, Galway and Cavan. And phase 2, which is just being completed in May of this year, had 5 groups, 2 in Dublin, 1 in Limerick, 1 in Galway and 1 in Waterford. And we also were approached for one-off deliveries by a Better Energy Communities project in Balmullet in County Mayo, and also by the Irish Prison Services, who were looking for an upskilling program for their trades officers who are responsible for maintaining their buildings. So we had 232 registered participants over the pilot. Our target was 200. Interest was initially low, and we gained momentum over the cycle of the project. And training was held, as I mentioned, Blanchardstown, number of institutes, Technology, Cork Institute, Waterford Institute, Limerick. Also support from ETB Training Centre in Ballyfermot, Saint-Gobain in Cavan and Partel in Galway. The reason for involving those organisations was to get access to the practical workshops or practical demonstration facilities that I mentioned for the middle day of training. So the delivery there is just a sample of some of the venues. The first one is Partel in Galway, the second one is ETB Training Centre in Ballyfermot, and also a classroom delivery in Cork at Cork Institute of Technology. Also Cavan, Saint-Gobain Technical Academy. This is back in IT Blanchardstown. The training itself focused on active participation, group activities, getting the construction workers from all the mixed disciplines and trades to speak together about the issues and to come to a common agreement that quality matters and that there was an importance around collaboration towards achieving standards. So this is a typical sort of activity that they would have engaged in. As a group, they would develop a poster and they would present the findings from the posters to the rest of the group. So who took part? All different trades. It's open to all trades and general operatives, everybody who works on site. The majority of participants were either builders or carpenters, but we also had representation from the other main construction trades. Some key findings from the evaluation. You can see the blue is after training and the green is before. So we were stressing the importance that everybody involved in the process had responsibility for the performance of the building. And also, this did change after training as well, but you can see even pre-training, almost all of our participants actually favoured closer building control and more inspections of work to ensure quality. So pilots, as I say, were dispersed around the country. 14 pilot courses, 232 workers trained. You can read a little bit about what the construction workers had to say about the training on the QualiBuild website. We also have the supporting actions, one of them being a quality building registration system, which is in development still at the moment. That's to allow construction workers to register and list their qualifications and allow consumers and companies to view the qualifications and competences of those construction workers. Also, communications campaign to improve consumer awareness through website, through conferences and coffee mornings, breakfast meets and printed material. So the national rollout, we're hoping to push on with the rolling out of the Trainer Post project and particularly the Foundation Energy Skills Programme, and to fully develop the Construction Workers Register. Endorsed by a steering committee which includes government agencies, Department of Energy, Department of Environment and a number of other relevant stakeholders. And just listing there the Friends of QualiBuild, these are organizations that assisted us with the delivery, who had a common interest in having a successful project. So it focuses on all construction workers, knowledge and skills developed through training. Support, of course, is needed for a national rollout to influence the change in construction industry. Final conference is coming up next Tuesday in a Heritage Hotel in Portlaoise. You can register on the QualiBuild website if you're interested. There are the contacts. Thank you for your attention.